Just like the night of my conception, this stream was a mistake because he put me in charge of the intro. Hey guys, welcome to the SnatchCast. We're here with unapologetic Canadian Leaf, Schmeckle, Marcus, and myself. Yes, you're back.
Yeah, after a very, 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 very long break.
And what was that break all about, Leaf?
I was the co-host for another show for a little bit, and then things happened, and then there was a shitstorm, so I was like, oh, better lay low for a bit, not to stream, because that was a mess.
When are you gonna learn? You shouldn't leave. All right, you shouldn't leave us. Mistakes will always happen if you do.
And then, well, okay, so I was planning on doing that show and still doing the SnatchCast, right? And then before I could even like get used to a schedule where I could do both, that just shit happened, and I was just like,
I love how your stories are always summed up to like, where you been, Leaf? Things happened, and then more things happened, and then more things happened.
That's how it always is. It was things are better now, I think. I don't expect more things to happen currently, maybe.
Yeah, I think you should learn a lesson and just stay where you know if it's okay. Even though you don't know if it's going to be okay, you best stay.
Mm-hmm. It's basically also never let your guard down, because life will always sneak away into the shadows, and then when you least expect it, stab you in the fucking eyeball.
Yep, pretty much. It was just...
Or at least ask you for $350.
Need about $350.
$350.
There we are.
All
so
right,
I figured before we get into any of the other topics, we should reference what happened the other day. Killing Muslims is bad. Don't just kill Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's basically all I have to say on the topic. Don't do it.
Well,
if you're
I
thinking of
would
shooting up a
like
mosque,
to talk about how hard the media took that fucking bait in the manifesto, though.
That was embarrassing. I saw that. That's ridiculous.
Like, he literally said in there he wanted to cause a civil war. Like, he was intentionally trying to cause a division. Like, he blamed Candace Owens, PewDiePie, fucking Spyro the Dragon, Fortnite. It's just like a bunch of like ridiculous shit, and the media is like, yep, it's PewDiePie's fault and Candace Owens' fault. I'm like, what? Like, did you not read the rest of that?
The fact that the media took the bait just shows how utterly useless they are. They did either that, or they took the bait knowing that it's bait and just said, well, at least they'll give us stories.
He was he did the fucking Marine copy pasta, and the media is like, he claimed he had like confirmed kills and that he was in the army. I'm like, are you really?
It's the fucking Oprah thing all over again. 9,000 penises.
Well, they also said that he was doing the white power sign, and it was just the okay sign. I'm just like, you guys keep taking all this bait. Like, he's doing everything he can. They're like, oh, he was far right. It was like, no, he wasn't actually far right. He just knew how to get the media to grab onto the bait and make him fucking famous. I'm like, oh my god, you're retarded.
And hearing some of the quotes out of this guy's mouth, it sounds like he's trying to be the fucking Joker.
Yeah.
He's just trying to cause fucking anarchy.
That's what that was his entire plan. He wanted to do this, and the media is doing exactly what he wanted. I'm just like, you played right into his hands. What are you doing?
Being the mainstream media.
The media is supposed to be a great tool for that type of shit when it's intentional propaganda. They're not supposed to buy into it when somebody else is giving them the idea. You know, if the guy outlines, hey, I want to cause division, maybe the route isn't to go, okay, yeah, good idea.
You know, these are the same fucking people that not too long ago, when a supposed terrorist, a dumb fuck really, made threats against Democrats and actually tried to harm Democrats with I guess, a fake bomb threat. I can't remember what the whole story was. No, I'm sorry, against Republicans specifically. A lot of the mainstream media basically spoke out and said, no. You can't blame Bernie Sanders for this shit. You can't blame Democrats for this shit. That person acted on their own. That person fucking did what they wanted to do. And just because they were inspired by this politician should not actually reflect any blame towards them. But as soon as somebody from the right does anything against the left, the mainstream media basically just wants to point fingers at Trump and say, it's all your fault, you fucking piece of shit.
Well, they'll
it's really fucking weird.
They're going to point their fingers at almost anyone that they can, even with an opinion.
They're pointing their fingers at fucking PewDiePie, and he's barely got an opinion.
Exactly. You know, one of the things that came out of this, I don't know if you heard about this guy or this kid. He's called Egg Boy. And what he did is that there was a politician in Australia. Actually, here, I can just show you the whole thing. It's only like 10 seconds long. But yeah, it was this politician in Australia. And he essentially said that, well, probably the reason for a lot of the hostilities growing in there is immigration. Because, you grow the immigration and things happen. Well, and then he goes into there, he does a little interview, and this kid, you see him in the back there, poofy hair.
He looks like a little shit.
Look at that neck. Yeah, he's a little shit.
Look at that fucking smirk on his face.
I know. And he gets his cell phone out. He fucking
harasses Native Americans.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. He fucking
Did he takes it. Pop the kid in the face?
He took an egg. Raw egg right to the head, and then he hits him. And the guy, no fucks. You're a kid. I don't care.
I wouldn't care either. Like, look, I understand that there are people out there that think to themselves, or think out loud and shit, and they basically say, don't harm kids ever, blah blah, all that stuff. Look, if a kid's gonna do some fucking stupid shit like this, that kid needs to get a backhand. There's no protecting idiots and assholes like that. This goes back to the same shit when it came to the whole argument against women in the beginning of these fucking stupid internet fights, where it was like, you should never hit a woman ever. And then people would present the idea, well, what if she's coming at you with a knife? Most of the people, the sensible people, would say, well, obviously fucking protect yourself and pop that bitch in the mouth. Like, you're dumb if you think that you should just accept the stabbing. That's stupid.
Instead, the response was, why are you looking for reasons to hit women?
Basically, it was fucking ridiculous as hell. And I'm not even remotely surprised that the mainstream media continues to do stupid shit like this, because what happened with the response to this kid cracking the egg on that politician's head? What they say, he shouldn't have hit that kid?
Well, he did get arrested, and I think he did get charged because he's a politician, all right? And so you can't really do that to a politician. That is assault. Obviously, it's assault.
It's assault no matter who it is, politician or not.
Exactly. But I type in Egg Boy and I look over on YouTube, and he's getting all these praise. He's like, people are on there with their phones saying, "Oh yeah, you're a fucking hero," that kind of stuff. And then the same politician, like, there was another video where he's getting essentially harassed at the airport by a couple of Muslim guys. Because of the things he said.
What exactly did he say?
He merely just said that probably the reason for the tension and all the increase in violence is immigration. Well, and the volume of immigration going on. Because let's be honest, do you really think things are going to run smoothly if you bring in like 2 million or multi-million people from a foreign country that has a completely opposite view of the world than you? I mean, obviously there's going to be tension.
Well, yeah. The things don't work so smooth when you try to do them too quick. That applies across the board to everything.
Exactly. It doesn't help that, like I said, this is a people that have a very different view of the world than we do. So obviously there's going to be some tension. So, I mean, it makes sense to draw that conclusion. And for that, this kid hits him in the back of the head with an egg. So, yeah.
I mean, at least it was just an egg. It's not like he decked the guy, but still, don't do shit like that. It's common sense stuff.
People are mad that he got smacked in the face. It's just like, well, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Yeah, sure, he's a kid, sure, if you want to use that word, but he's old enough to fucking know better. Come on.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
But this isn't some like fucking like baby. This is like almost an adult.
Yeah, the kid looked like he was probably like 16, 17.
Let's not pretend that he was just an innocent child that didn't do anything wrong. Like he knew what he was doing. He was instigating shit.
Yeah, I mean, I would
overreaction? Sure, there was definite overreaction, but
yeah, you should generally not hit kids. It's probably not enough of a reason to warrant hitting a kid. But do I particularly blame the guy? No. He'd just been hit in the back of the head with an egg. He turned and he swung.
One of the things that people have forgotten with us guys is that we have a fight or flight response. And essentially, if you hit us, even though you're most reasonable person out there, you might react violently. Even though you could be shorter and all that kind of stuff, you hit some guy. Eventually, the adrenaline's going to kick in, and reflexes just happen. You're just going to hit someone, even if you don't want to. You might do it. That's why it's never a good idea to hit guys, because it's just a reflex.
I mean, unless you need to, just don't fucking hit people.
And it could be like
not a hard concept.
I don't think people actually have seen that full video. I think people just saw where he got smacked in the face. No, he got apprehended, I guess, by security, and they were a bit rough. Like, as in, I'm pretty sure he ended up in the hospital from injuries. So, like, when I say overreaction, yeah, there was an overreaction. It wasn't him getting hit in the face. It was the stuff that happened after that.
Oh yeah, if he was hospitalized, that's a bit of an overreaction to an egg.
As far as I can tell, no, he wasn't. The full video shows that he was tackled down by a couple security guards, and I'm pretty sure like he was in the hospital for injuries. Well, he was probably taken to the hospital. I mean, I think he kind of had to, because when the kid gets tackled by a couple of grown men,
it was more than a couple. Let's be honest here. It was quite a bit more than just two guys. It was quite a number of people that were not necessary to take down this.
It was about 3 guys.
Like, that's just like, really, like, you don't. He's scrawny. He's not a big buff dude. He's relatively scrawny, and he's not even fighting. You know, like.
Yeah, it looked like maybe they could have piled on him a little less there.
Well, and it could also just been like maybe he's just a guy that looks like a kid. Maybe he looks younger than he really is, like an Onision or something.
It's also possible, but I'm pretty sure he was.
Now, I'm still very new to this, so I haven't looked into it any further. But I mean, he looks like a kid to me.
He does. So I'm not quite sure. I just know that was 1, 2 guys that, like, you don't need more. Like, he's skinny and he wasn't fighting.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I get it. He just assaulted the guy. Security's got to do something, right? But maybe they don't gotta pile on the fucking guy.
I think security would have treated this kid, or anyone for that matter, in the same manner, because he is an elected official. You just cannot assault your politicians like that.
I guess it does add something to it. He is, like you said, an elected official. It might require more of a response. I still think it was kind of overkill.
Well, yeah, I mean, he didn't whip out a fucking gun or whatever. It was an egg. You don't smash eggs over anybody's heads like that.
Well, and on top of that, like, eggs are covered in a shell. I mean, you assume it's covered in an egg. I don't know. Maybe he's got it filled with something else. Maybe it's poison. It could be any number of things. You don't know. These people are crazy. Like, you literally went up to a guy and smacked him in the back of the head with an egg. You're not a sane person if you're doing that.
No, you're.
I don't think he's insane. I think he's a fucking child.
Yeah, you're probably immature, but I wouldn't say.
Yeah, I definitely went to high school with kids who would have done dumb shit like that.
I was one of the kids that would have done dumb shit like that.
I always assumed that about you.
I did a lot of stupid shit when I was a kid.
All right, I'm gonna stop presenting this. But yeah, I thought I'd bring that up because I saw that earlier today, and I thought, well, Jesus Christ, what's going on here?
Insanity, Semaj.
Clearly, it's a type of insanity. I don't know.
Well, the kid wasn't charged with anything.
He would be a minor, so I guess he'd get away with a few things.
Yeah, so we've learned 2 points so far. Don't shoot Muslims for no reason, and don't hit people in the back of the head with fucking eggs for no reason. Also, it likely doesn't take 3 men to take down a 17-year-old, or it shouldn't. As far as the Christchurch thing goes, a lot of the reactions to it have been really dumb. The only one that really kind of hits home near here is people trying to dig in at PewDiePie for it, right? PewDiePie's barely political. We're barely political, and PewDiePie is less political than we are.
Owens too. They said that she was their. He said she was his biggest inspiration. I'm just like, okay, but whatever, dude. Like, it was just bait. It was all bait. It was all trying to pin people against each other, and it worked. I'm just like, you guys are fucking stupid.
I'm just sort of scrolling the Twitter right now.
I still can't believe he blamed Spyro the Dragon. Like, not many people are talking about the fact that he blamed Spyro and Fortnite.
I was gonna say something about that. Like, what is a fucking purple dragon that has brought smiles to children's faces across the country for
He had shifty eyes.
You know what? You're a fucking bastard.
He didn't like the fact that playing Spyro gave him motion sickness. I don't know.
Playing Spyro gave him motion.
Yeah,
the graphics were kind of shitty in the old ones.
Yep. With the remastered version, they actually had to take got a setting in where you can turn motion blur off because people couldn't play. Some people couldn't play it without getting sick. I am one of those people who could not play the original Spyro games without feeling sick. I get it was bad.
And Brock is fakest has a good point. What harm can a fucking purple dragon do? Andy Warski is a purple dragon, Brock.
He says he's a purple dragon, but I do not see any horns, nor do I see wings or a tail.
Motherfucker, he keeps it all in his pants. He got a little crotch dragon.
He doesn't even have scales. I think he's lying to us.
You know, if he ever ups it from coke to meth, maybe he'll get those scales.
That is kind of one of the next jumps. Like, where do you go from coke? Meth?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good choices. If you'd like to upgrade, meth, of course, is one of them. Tooth loss, scaly skin, that weird kind of face thing Liz Reptiles got going on. Heroin's a good option, too.
No. You see, heroin is the end. That's once you've gotten to heroin, you've basically hit the wall, essentially, because there is no other drug that'll kill you faster than heroin or cause you to overdose if you're not fucking paying attention to what you're doing and shit. And it's also the most addictive and most destructive of all the fucking hard drugs out there. Now, a lot of people will probably argue, well, that's not entirely true. Here's some studies that'll actually show you the effects of methamphetamines. Here's the study that'll show you about this. I don't give a shit. I'm not a drug guy. I don't know drugs that much. I'm basically saying, in my opinion, heroin is pretty much the end of the line. You're fucked if you get there.
No, I'd put heroin and meth both end of the fucking line drugs. Once you've committed to doing heroin or meth, you're fucked. You know, like that's a real addiction with a real bitch of a fucking withdrawal. Most people don't end up getting clean; they end up kicking the bucket. Both of those are just don't do meth. Don't do heroin. This is an educational episode.
Very educational.
I do a lot of very common sense things, but some of you can't seem to figure them out.
Somebody in the chat, fucking Fakest is saying salvia all the way. Okay, look, I'm gonna say right now, I've done it. Okay, I've done salvia.
Bad.
I saw Eternity.
Brock is bad.
It was okay. It was the weirdest 30 minutes of my life because at one point I shapeshifted into a Simpsons character and then immediately shapeshifted into a fucking Family Guy character. I for some reason thought I was kicking a fucking casino table, like a roulette table, a really long, ridiculously long roulette table. And I thought I was kicking. No, there's video footage, or at least was video footage that shows I wasn't doing any of those things. I just sat there and laughed my ass off the entire fucking time. And then I eventually saw Eternity. And then close to the end of my trip, my asshole friend, who really has an obsession with ruining people's fucking highs, and he's the kind of piece of shit who used to get high himself, but then he quit because he wanted to, become a wrestler. And then in his second year of wrestling, he sucked ass and actually was one of their least favorite wrestlers instead of being, their champion. Basically, I guess he had a massive fucking chip on his shoulder because he didn't do drugs anymore. So he just decided to ruin everybody else's high. And he said the stupidest thing you could have said to somebody on a trip. His brain is boiling. Because in that moment, I thought, oh my God, my head's going to explode. So I got up in a panic, ran into my backyard, because this was in my garage, by the way, and pretty much sat there holding my head together, thinking it was about to explode. When I realized it wasn't going to, I walked back into the garage, looked him in the eyes and said, "You're an asshole," and sat back down and watched other people do the same. That's my salvia trip.
We'd pick up salvia if we couldn't find a dealer. Like we couldn't get pot. Never really did a whole lot for me. The only time I really got a salvia high, we were all just sitting in a car getting high. Smoked it, passed it off, and just kind of slumped over. And I started to look at the bottom of my shoe. And then I thought I was in a game show taking place on the bottom of my shoe. I can't remember the game show, but I remember that it was very complex with a lot of rules, like Japanese game show style. Never got to find out who won.
I've never done anything like that. You guys are fucking degenerates.
Sometimes, Leaf, you have to enjoy your childhood. We aren't all half Asian.
I
grew up in a middle-class white household. I had access to all the drugs.
I grew up in a lower middle class / poor neighborhood / household. And I also primarily grew up in the 90s and kind of started dabbling with some shit in the early 2000s. I was bored. Also, I wanted to fit in. Then I just started drinking heavily and didn't care anymore.
Yeah, see, I never cared so much about the fitting in stuff. It turns out I just really, really like getting high.
That too. Getting high was actually fun, and I do kind of miss it. I might get high again.
That was the whole thing. It was why I ended up doing coke and stuff like that.
Stop it,
I liked being high, and I liked being more high.
Why are you like this? Get off of me!
Leaf, put it down.
It tried to walk across my keyboard, and then I tried to move her, and then she decided to dig her claws into my shirt.
Ha ha! Pussy!
Horrible cat. Spawn of fucking Satan.
I love your cat. Your cat is amazing. She tortures
my cat is horrible.
Basis. Your cat is amazing. It's the greatest.
You know what? I will use it as a weapon and throw it at your face, Brockus.
She will not attack me. She will simply realize that the two of us can team up and do more harm to you.
She will definitely have her claws out. You probably will lose an eye.
If you throw a cat at a bear, I'm pretty sure the cat turns around and attacks you. You throw your fucking cat at Brockus. It's seeing how fucking big he is, and it's picking sides smartly.
It's going to turn back and give you this look like, you bitch.
I mean, at the point where you throw your cat at someone, it knows where it lies in your mind. It knows how things stand.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, Brockus, you ever fuck a pumpkin?
No, I am not a degenerate.
You are definitely a degenerate. You fuck rubber duckies.
You bitch. Okay, that joke is dead. You need to fuck off now.
No.
I've carved enough pumpkins in my day to know that the inside of a pumpkin is horrifying. It looks like the thing of a horror movie. I do not want to put my dick in that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the type of thing you'd want to fuck, right?
The insides of pumpkins are scary. Why would I do? It's like it's filled with spiders. Like why would I?
Like gooey spiders.
It's horrifying. It's like do I have to carve it? I have to. Oh fuck. I really don't want to. It's scary.
You're a 30-something-year-old man with no kids. Why the fuck do you have to carve a pumpkin?
Because I like Halloween.
Jesus fucking Christ.
A great excuse.
Just buy those fake pumpkins that come like carved. It's fine.
That's
less work. You don't actually have to carve the pumpkins.
Oh, well, I mean, there is that, but I mean, I still do it.
Someone in chat said you don't look at the inside of the pumpkin, you just stick your dick in it. Okay?
No.
No.
No, you don't do that. You don't do any of that.
Don't stick your dick places without looking where it's going.
The other reason I would never do that is because the inside of a pumpkin is cold. It's very cold.
Well, I'm assuming you like heat it up first, like put it in the oven.
Why? Like, why is this like? What is with dudes and like fucking food to begin with? There was this dude that went. Well, he was infamous, I should say, for fucking a hot pocket. Like, just why?
Because you ladies are making it too hard on us. You need to be a lot easier, okay?
Just why? Why is this a conversation?
Well, because there was an SNL sketch, two of them actually, the Pumpkin Patch and Pound Puppy, both of them about, actually I don't know about both of them. The Pumpkin Patch at least about fucking pumpkins. There's a comedy duo called Temple Horses that says that Saturday Night Live plagiarized the sketch. Meanwhile, in 2013, Cracked had already put out their pumpkin fucking sketch. So now, I guess the three organizations are at each other's throats all over pumpkin fucking.
I'm not even remotely surprised by any of that because nowadays the people that are in the comedy scene, the comedians, the joke writers, the producers, almost everyone, especially the new faces, are now just a bunch of plagiarizing, joke-stealing assholes who pretty much will just take a good idea and run with it and then try to pretend like, well, no, we had this idea. You can't expect anyone to just not have a pumpkin fucking skit when half the skit is like almost legitimately the exact same thing. You really got to question, hey, how legitimate are you? Why are you showing the insides of pumpkins? What the fuck is wrong with you, Semaj?
Because
he's trying to see if he can convince you.
I can't even convince myself. These things are scary.
That's not scary. It's just gross.
I'm not doing it.
Ruckus, how much money to get you to fuck a pumpkin?
There is no price you can actually put to make me fuck something.
For Ruckus, if you had to choose between fucking a pumpkin and going to a clothing store to get fitted for a bra, which one would you choose?
I'd rather go get that bra. Make that shit look cute as fuck.
I think you could pull off a nice lacy bra.
Damn right I could.
Maybe something that buckles at the front so you don't have to stretch.
Yeah, I don't want to have to fucking, break my damn shoulder again just to get that shit clasped. That's just ridiculous. No. Put it in the front so I could just simple, kind of like a tie on my titties.
Nobody wants to look at pictures of the inside of a pumpkin, Semaj. What are you doing?
Well, Schmeckel can end the presentation at any moment.
I could, but I'm fascinated and a little hard.
What the Why are you like this?
Why aren't you?
I don't know. I guess I'm insane?
There's a possibility. Can you tell the shit-eating story?
No.
Oh, but yeah,
Oh no, it's out of ink. Fuck! No, wait, no, back there it is. There it is.
Yeah, all right there.
No, yeah,
I think he's dead.
My inking pens were running out of ink, but it's because I haven't used them in a while.
Okay, now that your arm's fixed up, you can actually write and shit.
I can draw, yes, and that's what I've been doing a lot of, aside from playing.
Yeah, draw, that's what I meant.
Well, I've been writing too.
Good. Gotta be creative.
Yeah, Brockus, you keep practicing, and one day you could be a new Jimmy.
I could be like a Semaj.
No, you will never be like Semaj, but you can dream.
Oh, well, dreaming sounds like fun.
I think if you took a couple lessons from Jimmy, you could at least move in with your mother.
I'm starting to wonder why I do these characters where I actually just like make myself sound worse than I actually am. And it's just like I like self-deprecating jokes, but
you are a self-deprecating joke at this point.
I do it entirely too much. And it's starting to make me wonder, like, do I really hate myself, or is it really a joke as I say it is? And it's just
Brockus. Months ago, we promised the chat a Truffle Shuffle once your arm was better. Your arm is better.
I don't remember making that deal.
The secretary took note of it.
I also remember this being a thing.
Yeah, well, you're fucking evil and just want to embarrass the shit out of me.
No, it was you. You actually did promise back when Nail Tase was on.
Yep, remember?
I do.
There you go, Brockus. Get them titties out.
I don't wanna.
I don't care if you wanna.
Unknown archives and shit. Hi.
Oh, fuck that guy.
You dirty bearded slut. How you doing, Unknown Archive?
He showed up just in time for the titty jiggle.
Come on.
Oh my god, no. Because I swear to God, he has his OBS out. He hears. Wait, shuffle. He's gonna fucking shake his titties for us all. I have to torture my audience. This is UA's thought. I have to torture my audience now with this for a later dump, because why the fuck not share the madness with the rest of the internet? And then AP's gonna get word of it, and he's gonna be like, holy shit, why the fuck is Brockus shaking his titties like this? You know what? I gotta take this clip and put it on my fucking show, and the next thing you know, my titties jiggling.
Brockus, none of these are excuses. Get your titties out, whore.
Are you someone who doesn't keep your word? Do you break your promises? Are you a promise breaker?
Are you lying to me?
Yes.
Did you tell a lie to my audience?
I did.
Oh!
You lied to me too, Brockus, and you lied to Nail Tase. How dare you lie to her?
That one hurts, actually.
Yeah, Brockus, you can't just go lying to Nail Tay.
Nail Tay is a sweet girl.
I'm gonna tell her that you lied to her because you. I'm typing out the message now, Brockus.
No, I didn't lie to her. I'll do it. I just don't want to do it tonight. Can we not do it tonight?
Nail Tay.
No, you son of a bitch!
Lied to you about the Truffle Shuffle.
You're an evil.
Brockus, if you do it now, that message doesn't get sent. But you have
he says that it was because he doesn't like you.
Oh,
he listed the following reasons
such a liar.
Why?
You're such a lying bastard. I hate you so much.
Do it, Brockus. Or he hit send.
Reason number 1.
I hate you so much. I hate you with
your voice.
I want you to die.
Reason number 2. He can't stand your face.
I hate you so much. all you get. That's all you fucking get.
Oh my god.
I wasn't even typing a message. I was just hitting my keyboard.
I know. It was a bit, and I was fucking playing into it. Let me joke, damn you.
Oh my god.
There we go. Nailte actually wasn't here to see that, though, so you're going to have to repeat it later.
You can just go ask whoever fucking recorded that just now and say, hey, can you just send me that clip?
You may as well just make a GIF of your own and just sort of put it online. It's too late now, Brox. You can't.
If he made a GIF or whatever, he probably could just pull that up every time he got asked, and he would never need to actually do it again.
There are several streams that I fucking have done that on, and I kept saying the same
can't just
thing.
pull up those streams every time someone asks you to do it. Now, Kenny Brockus, I'm giving you an out here, and you're not working with it.
Don't worry. I remember every time he's ever done a truffle shuffle, and I will call bullshit if it's an old one. Anyway, now that I've seen Brockus's tits, I'm going to go get some coffee, Worski style. Brockus is in charge since he's a good boy.
That means he's masturbating.
Oh, no.
That's what he's doing. When you say you're going to go get coffee Worski style, it means you're going off and just whacking one off. Going off to the side.
Let's just not draw attention to it. It's just not it's not a thing. So, Brockus, now it's just you and me. I mean, the woman.
Excuse you.
What, do you think you count?
I returned.
Yeah.
I've been gone for a while. I came back. You should be happy. Fuck you.
I don't even know why I even have to bother to listen to this thought. Anyway, Brockus, so how about that James Gunn coming back, eh?
Oh, yeah, that was...
Hey, oh my fucking god.
What you talking about?
Die in a fire.
Well, okay, but after I finish my Timmy's, okay?
Die in a fire just right now.
Hey, look. The burning fires of hell can wait after I finish my double-double.
No, they can't.
Well, sure it can. Sure, hell can glaze over with some Timbits.
She is just getting more and more mad.
Because she gets the references because she's a fellow Canuck.
I hope you just get thrown off a fucking roof. Okay? You're horrible. You're the worst Canadian.
Oh, am I now, eh? Oh, you know what? I feel all sad. I should get my frustrations out and play some hockey while the ice is still out there.
Unfortunately, yes, there is still ice out there because it's still winter in Canada and there's so much fucking snow. Like, why? Why can't the snow just go away forever?
Maybe in your neck of the woods. You're in Manitoba. That shit's epic. I'm in Alberta. It's actually warm and sunny over here.
There's a lot of snow. There is so much snow. Like, there's just piles and piles of fucking snow.
I'm sure there are, and there's lots here as well. But I still get warm weather. I could walk outside with shorts.
I hope you get burned by the sun.
I very well might get burnt, but I'm already, ready for that. I spent 2 months in Mexico. I'm nice and tanned up. I'm good to go. Sorry, we're having a Canadian fight here. Hey, welcome back there, Schmeckel.
How you doing, Jimmy?
I try to take things in a nerd thing, and she's just...
They rehired James Gunn. He made all those terrible, terrible, terrible jokes that so many people got so angry about.
And then they rehire him. Was when he said, he knew it made his wife uncomfortable, and he basically said he would take the virginity of his daughter. I'm just like, that's...
Well, yeah, the things he said were fucked up, but they were all clearly jokes.
Yeah, when he did. I mean, that one was to specifically upset his wife. I'm just like, your intentions, it's weird. Like,
sometimes you gotta piss off the missus.
Yes,
Keep
but
her in
there's
line.
ways to go about it that don't involve saying you're going to take the virginity of your own child.
To be fair,
well, yeah, I mean, personally, not something I would say, but
and he was actually being encouraged by the place that he was working at the time, which was Trauma Films. They make very edgy of edgelord movies that are just, you know, the worst, absolutely the worst.
So they're to blame.
Well, they essentially encourage this behavior, and because if you looked at any of the other people who worked for them, one of which was actually a pedophile, turns out, which is why people got mad at James Gunn because they assumed all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, they all make these kinds of jokes, and not just that, they make jokes about everything from like abortions to anything that you can possibly think of. So it's really not all that surprising. Now,
I mean, statistically, if it's possible, then it's probably happened at this point, right? Which means that statistically, some abortions were funny. I don't know how. I can't think of how you'd make an abortion funny, but statistically, some of them would have caused at least a chuckle.
I think South Park probably did the best. I think it was like the South Park game where they were trying to sneak in to find out what was going on with the aborted fetuses, and they pretended to be like a doctor and a patient, and the supervisor came in there and said, "Oh, by all means, continue with the abortion." And so the kid who was playing the doctor had to perform an abortion on, I think it was Stan's father, and there's nothing there to suck out, so of course he tried, and it's just like lots of near screams and shit. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I remember the scene you're talking about. It was a fucked up scene, but yeah, that was a funny abortion.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure there have been similar laughs in real life.
People have pointed out, and I kind of have to agree. If you find something like South Park, if you're laughing at that, then getting mad at James Gunn for making virtually the same types of jokes, it's kind of hypocritical. And I get that logic, and I can sort of see where they're coming from. It's not like there was any allegations that he actually did anything. All this was over tweets.
Yeah, all of them were over old tweets that were clearly jokes. Then they were from, I think, like 10 years before the fact.
I think it was like, well, it's either 10 or 8 years, but I mean, he worked for the place for a while, so.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, there was all that outrage, and then they bring him back right as they're having all this outrage at Tucker.
Tucker?
Yeah,
Tucker Carlson?
That's the guy.
The Fox News anchor? What did he do?
He made some comments about a 17-year-old that were uncomfortable at best.
Oh, okay. In regards to like James Gunn coming back, it's unprecedented. Hell froze over that Disney actually brought someone back after all this. That was surprising. Gives you hope that maybe Roseanne will come back, but you know she ain't coming back because
I don't care if Roseanne comes back. That show was awful.
Well, oh, never mind. I like not the new one. I haven't seen it, but anyway, if I had to guess as to why they bring James Gunn back, it's probably because they need someone else to help run things. Because if you look at the Captain Marvel situation, that's such an epic fail that it's so it's so.
From what I heard, they made pretty good money for the Captain Marvel thing.
Well, they made good money on opening weekend, but that was to be expected because the next Marvel movie is Endgame. You know, when you find out what happened, and that was such an epic cliffhanger to the last Avengers movie. So obviously, if you're going to introduce a new character, there's got to be a reason for it. So it made money for that. But this weekend's the second weekend. And that's usually when you tell if a movie's good or not, because then you have word of mouth, you have people saying things and everything, and then that's how you determine whether or not it's going to make money in the future, like for DVDs and merchandise and all that. It had a drop, because you expect to have some kind of a drop because the first crowd has already come through. I think it had a drop of 75%, which is the biggest drop of a Marvel movie ever.
Wow.
And I mean, like, ever. So it's pretty bad. They like, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp was also kind of a failure in a lot of ways, but it's failed even past that. So it's not good. It's definitely not good. So I imagine someone's panicking. I know that they've already announced that there's going to be a sequel to Captain Marvel, and they're going to introduce Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. So they may want to walk that back.
Yeah, don't go that route. Don't get me wrong. I've said this many times. I don't care that Kamala Khan is brown or a Muslim or a woman or any of that. I hate the character. She's a pointless character. Every aspect of her personality is either I love Ms. Marvel or Captain Marvel or just I'm fucking annoying. Look at me, I'm smart and annoying.
Well, it's kind of written by people who don't know how teenage girls act. Nonetheless, a Muslim teenage girl. So it was a bit weird, let's say.
It was awful. And a lot of the artists they hired for the books were really bad as well. They
went downhill fast. It didn't work out that well. They did have a good team on the first couple issues, but it went downhill really fast after that. So I don't know.
The fakist has brought up a couple other characters that were kind of shoehorned in. Riri Williams, I don't really like her, but whatever. Miles Morales, I really like. Amadeus Cho, I really like. America Chavez could be such a good character.
She was.
No, I'm not aware of. I don't know her from the start, but it's such a good concept for a character.
Mm-hmm.
What I've seen her in, it's mainly just, hey, I'm a lesbian. Did you know I'm a lesbian?
Who apparently traveled through time and punch Hitler before Captain America could punch Hitler, and then apparently also has two mommies because she's also a space lesbian from a planet that doesn't have men, or at least has men, but they're not needed for making babies.
Okay, I didn't know all that.
Yeah, that all came in there, and it's just fucked up. And then she talks about how like she's a Latino or whatever. It's like no, you're a fucking space alien.
Yeah, you're not a. She's a fucking alien, but she looks kind of Latino. So,
but yeah, I'm a Latina. You're a fucking alien. Yeah, there's some consistency issues with this character in this series. One of the theories I hear going about there is, well, one reason why they kept introducing all these new characters like Riri Williams to replace Iron Man, Jane Foster to replace Thor, that kind of stuff. It's primarily because they knew the actors were going to get old and you need something to replace them. So the comics were going to introduce new characters that would be younger, because they're all younger, with the exception of Jane Foster. But a lot of them are younger, and therefore they can, be in new movies and last for decades and all that. Problem is that no one likes them. They don't sell. No one cares for them. They're all terrible. Just terrible.
Oh yeah, Brockus was tweeting about it the other day. They gotta stop fucking mantling. When fucking Batman dies, kill off Batman. Don't bring in a new Batman. And then when you bring in that new Batman, don't go, all right, and this one's black lesbian cripple, just for the sake of it.
Yeah,
just stay true to the fucking character, because that's what your fans are buying. That's what's making you your money.
Basically, what I'm tired of seeing is people consistently changing who wears the costume and stuff. Even though in DC, Bruce Wayne or a Bruce Wayne-esque character is consistently always Batman. I shit you not. In the universe that DC has established, where the majority of the white characters have all been race changed to black characters, such as Wonder Woman, Superman, Green Lantern, and so many others, Batman is still the token white guy in that world. He's still a white guy.
They never really change Batman because they understand that if you give somebody that isn't Bruce the costume for a long period of time, it's going to piss off the fans. Ironically, anytime Dick Grayson wears a costume, all the fans know it's temporary, so everyone accepts it and just doesn't say anything about it. If Damian Wayne were to actually become a new Batman, which they've actually tampered with the concept of Damian Wayne actually becoming new Batman, who's apparently a psychopath and murders everybody in the future with guns, then, you know, there's a lot of speculation as to what will happen and such. But I'm sick and tired of the fucking mantle change. Because there are certain characters, like the Green Lantern, like the Nova Corps, that if somebody else is wearing the costume, it's not a big deal. There's actually thousands of them, so why are you bitching? Mm-hmm. This is why I never really cared about the whole John Stewart is a Green Lantern of Earth thing. Okay, cool. What I liked about John Stewart in the beginning was that he wasn't actually a Green Lantern of Earth who actually stayed on Earth or anything like that. That was primarily Kyle Rayner, Hal Jordan, and the occasional Guy Gardner. John was different. He was an elite guard kind of Green Lantern. And then they basically shoehorned him back into being Green Lantern of Earth. And I'm just sick and tired of that shit happening. Like, why are there 5, 6 even fucking Green Lanterns for Earth who protect Earth at all times? It's like...
Didn't they write it off as Earth being like a particularly important planet?
They did write it off like it was a particularly important planet, which is why Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, and John Stewart were all at one point on Earth. But at the same time, it's kind of ridiculous and redundant when you have Guy Gardner, John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, Hal Jordan, Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz, and whoever other Green Lantern from Earth all of a sudden makes a goddamn appearance. It's like, okay, enough with the Green Lanterns. Okay, we like Green Lantern, but fucking Christ, give me something else. Make Atrocitus come back as a fucking anti-hero kind of character where he's actually helping everybody, being a good guy, but he just murders everyone like he's some kind of a psychopathic Lobo. Oh shit, bring both Lobo and Atrocitus back and make them psychopathic heroes. That would be amazing.
Make them do a team up.
Yes, that would be fucking awesome. I want to see that happen. Anyways, I'm tired of seeing the mantle being changed to who wears the mask. Just kill him the fuck off. Create a brand new hero, brand new gimmick, brand new costume, brand new name, brand new mantle, brand new mask, brand new everything. Don't fucking tell me it's all new, all different when it's fucking not. All you did was change who's under the costume. That's it. It's not all new, all different. It's same shit, worse writers. Fuck you.
I think part of the reason is that if you already have a fan base for an established IP character, that's guaranteed to make sales. So it's best to just sort of do something that people know and like.
No, yeah, it's a good move monetarily, but if you're that concerned, you've got to look forward a little further. You know you're going to lose money on this new character. You know people are going to, your sales are going to drop. So just don't kill off the original fucking character. If you're that concerned about the fucking money that you'll let it get in the way of the story.
Are any of you guys a fan of Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Doctor Strange, or even Captain Marvel?
Yeah, all of them.
All of them, okay. Did you know that in the actual original inception of these characters, they didn't actually do that great? In fact, Luke Cage did so poorly in his initial solo run that they canceled his actual solo comics for a time and then just teamed him up with Iron Fist, who was also doing decently, but not enough to really, like, you know, be a top-selling comic book character. Spider-Man.
You put the two together, and they start to make their fucking sales.
Pretty much.
Spider-Man was heroes for hire. They were good to fucking go.
Spider-Man, Iron Man, the Fantastic Four, and the Avengers were 4 comic books that came about in the 1960s and 70s that surprised a lot of other creators of comic books because these comic books somehow saved Marvel Comics. Fantastic Four actually is the very comic book and the very title that saved Marvel from bankruptcy. They actually started selling comic books again. Spider-Man, surprisingly, despite being told over and over again, would be a very unpopular character, quickly became one of Marvel's top-selling characters in the 1960s. The Avengers were a team of characters that were doing poorly in their own individual books, and they just, for fun, threw them together in a doomsday scenario in which they saved the world as a team and, once again, somehow actually saved all of these individual books and such. It is a common thing for comic book characters to introduce, or comic book companies to introduce new characters, and for those characters to not do that well. It is rare to get something like the Fantastic Four or Spider-Man, where surprisingly, straight off the bat, very popular. The X-Men, for fuck's sake, has been canceled multiple times. It wasn't until fucking Jim Lee and Chris Claremont in the 1980s got their hands on the comic books and created what we now know as quite possibly one of the most popular comic book characters Marvel has ever produced, which is basically the X-Men. But they were canceled multiple times prior to that.
So, just to swing back to the whole the movies kind of stuff, I wonder if at the end of this next Avengers movie, if we're going to get like a whole recasting of the main characters, or are they going to actually go forward with the idea and just redo everyone with these new characters like Riri and all that?
I highly doubt that.
I doubt that too. After Captain Marvel's abysmal fail, but you know that they've been working on their next phase. You know someone has to have been writing scripts for the next movies. The only ones we know confirmed are Doctor Strange 2. Captain Marvel might be, might be on the back burner for a little bit, and of course Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is going to take a little while to come out because James Gunn has already signed this contract. He's already doing the Suicide Squad movie. Let's say the reboot of that. So he's going to do that first and then do Guardians. But that's going to take a couple of years. So wait a while for Guardians.
Yeah, as far as the plan to bring in these new characters for the movie's sake, what are they going to do now that those new characters have not tested well?
They've never tested well. The other reason I think they also created new characters, just going back to that, is because these new characters came about after Disney bought Marvel. And what that essentially means is, like, with all these other characters, like Iron Man and all that, when you use these characters, you do have to pay a royalty to, like, the Stan Lee family, to the Jack Kirby's family, to all these different people. But these new characters created by the Disney staff, they don't have to pay royalties to anyone. They essentially get to keep them all, which is probably the other reason why they might want to go forward with these new characters. But I hope with Captain Marvel's abysmal failure that they realize you can't do that because no one likes these characters. They're terrible.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, at least Captain Marvel not doing so well will turn them off of doing a Miss Marvel movie. Yeah, I would love a Miss Marvel movie if they had done this movie differently, and the Miss Marvel movie was like her intro, right? Her fucking origin. Now that they've done this, the only Miss Marvel movie we're gonna get is Kamala Khan.
I foresee them shoehorning her into let's say a Spider-Man movie, because
that would be fine as a side character who shows up every now and then.
Yeah,
just don't have her in there too much.
Or they could just go hog wild and say the next Spider-Man movie is going to be like the Champions. It'll be like Kamala Khan, and they'll probably introduce mutants and all that, and probably have Cyclops. If you don't know the Champions, it's like a teenager Avenger comic that didn't work out very well. Yeah, it's not good. They also have that Amadeus Cho, the Asian Hulk, which I will be upset if they do him and not bring in She-Hulk, because I would rather have her.
Yeah, who would you cast for She-Hulk though?
Ooh. Ooh.
And She-Hulk's also one that they'd go full feminist on, because Jennifer Walters was a feminist.
Well, hopefully they scale back that feminist stuff, because it hasn't been very good to them. It's actually cost them a lot to do feminism in Captain Marvel. So hopefully they're not that stupid. Oh, gee, I don't know, Brockus, do you have any ideas on who you want to have She-Hulk?
Not really. If this was a few years ago, I would have said Olivia Wilde. Because
I could see it.
Yeah, like she looks like the type of person that would probably play a great Jennifer Walters. You know, she's just the average sized woman lawyer who basically, you know, works out on a regular basis and shit. Gets into an unfortunate car accident. Her cousin gives her blood transfusion, completely forgetting that his blood is actually tainted with gamma radiation. And because it's her DNA and his DNA mixing, it actually allows a very normal process of the pretty much, I guess you could say, the Hulkanizing genes inside of both of them to normalize her. She's actually super strong and intelligent. So suddenly now she can Hulk out. And then who wouldn't actually want to see like just a fucking badass version of Olivia Wilde?
You know, whoever they do, they have to do it like they do with the Hulk. You know, get someone that is, you know, get a woman that's normal looking, and then just make the Hulk all CG or She-Hulk. Because, you know, like trying to, let's say, get like a muscular person to play She-Hulk, it might not look all that good.
Yeah, no. That's true. You don't want one of these fighter chicks. Like She-Hulk was large and muscly, but not bulky. You take a fighter or something like that, and you're getting a gross She-Hulk. You're getting the modern day She-Hulk. If they hadn't already used her for Maria Hill, I'd say Kobe Smulders would do it well.
Isn't this the same woman that played, what's her name, Angel in Deadpool?
Not a clue.
The tough girl who
Angel Dust. Angel
Dust. Yeah, the one who fought with Colossus.
Yep.
That's her? Yeah. Not much of an actress though, but I still loved her in that movie, so.
Yeah, and she doesn't look overly bulky.
Yeah. But then again, I guess you wouldn't be able to really cast someone overly bulky. Maybe someone that's a little bit more smaller. Oh god, it's a difficult role to play.
Yeah, see, I like Alison Brie. I don't know how well she'd do as Jennifer Walters. She doesn't generally play assertive characters. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna stop presenting because She-Hulk is a contentious Google search. I made a mistake one time of doing a Google image search on a stream, and I didn't realize there was fan art of nudes of She-Hulk. It's like, fuck, I can't do it. She's not safe.
Yeah, no. She-Hulk and a handful of other female characters from Marvel are not safe characters to look up on Google search. Like the first 4 rows, yeah, no, that's fine. And then like row number 5, it's just nothing but not safe for work.
Although, I was great. Now that I stopped presenting, scrolling down on all this, I see something that I totally forgot. The new versions of She-Hulk, called her Hulk, made her gray. This is actually the most tame image of her that I've seen, because in the comics, she's so fucking muscular. She's like Hulk muscular. It's just Hulk with tits.
Yeah, they made the face more similar to the Hulk's. It's awful.
It's just not good to look at.
Yeah, like this here doesn't look so bad. This is just, you know, a really, really buff gray lady. Some of these pictures have her looking like she's a fucking pug lady.
Oh, there have been some really, really horrible pictures out there. So hopefully they don't go around with that. But yeah, here's just hoping we get like a Hulk, She-Hulk.
Yeah, and it would be nice. I mean, there are a lot of good female Marvel characters that they could choose from. And Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, has at times been a really good character. I don't like modern Carol Danvers. I haven't really liked her as Captain Marvel. But there were so many characters that deserved a movie first. Some of them already existing in the MCU. The Black Widow.
Scarlet Witch.
The Wasp. Fuck, a movie with the Scarlet Witch and Pietro's childhood would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. That would have been something.
But I don't know if they can do that. I think Sony owns the rights.
Nope.
No?
Nope. They could definitely do that. The reason why is because the way Fox did it, and it was actually Fox, you mistaken Sony and Fox. The way Fox did it is they were going off of the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver reboot versions of the character, where they are the legitimate, illegitimate children of Magneto, hence they are actually mutants and such. Marvel Studios went with the original version of Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch, where actually they're enhanced humans. They had the potential to develop superpowers naturally, but through witchcraft or voodoo or some kind of fucking gypsy magic and shit, their powers were actually granted to them by some kind of a wandering gypsy and shit like that, because they themselves were also gypsies. And their powers were eventually enhanced sometime later when they were actually sent over to, I want to say it was after Magneto, because they were told they're the real children of Magneto, but really they're not. Polaris is the only legitimate child of Magneto at this point. And then in the event, they eventually become Avengers, where their powers continue to evolve and become stronger and more badass, and it's fucking awesome. So there are different versions of them, and they could absolutely go with the original version, where they're basically just gypsies and some bad shit happened to them and magic them powers up.
Yeah, and see, that'd make a decent movie. As far as female characters go, they've got so many. Fucking Gamora spinoff.
Oh, a Gamora movie could have worked out pretty well.
It's Xena in space. Who wouldn't watch that?
You know, I remember watching the Silver Surfer cartoon, and Nova was in there, like the Gamora's sister, but she wasn't all cybernetic. She actually had a full head of hair. It was like white hair, and she was like a pirate lord and all that. And I thought that was fucking epic. Would be nice to see that.
And even if they want to go with a fucking feminist angle, like Tigra, fucking Spider-Woman.
Oh yeah, you got and the Spider characters. You got Silk and all that. Well, and not to mention they now have the X-Men. You got fucking mutants like Storm, Jean Grey, fucking Shadowcat or Rogue.
Yeah, a Rogue movie right there. Rogue's an easy character to write a movie about.
What, you don't like Captain Marvel? Done. We got fucking Rogue. We're gonna get the best Rogue movie.
Oh fuck! Can you imagine if that's what the Captain Marvel movie was for? They wanted people to dislike her, so that when the Rogue movie came around and Rogue took her fucking powers, everybody stood up and cheered.
That actually would be hilarious. By the way, slight correction. You said Nova, which is understandable why you might say Nova with Guardians and all that stuff. But it's actually, her name is Nebula.
Thank you, Nebula. Yes, it was that.
Yeah, Nova is Richard Rider from the Nova Corps and all that.
Indeed.
I thought he was talking about Nova, the Herald of Galactus. I was very confused.
Marvel has used the name Nova for so many characters.
Yeah, in the earlier years, they were really, really lazy with looking to see if they'd already used a name.
I could see that. I could see that definitely happening. But yeah, no, I mean, we could also get like a Fantastic Four movie coming out, which honestly, that's probably going to be the first one we're going to get.
Are we getting Black Johnny Storm again?
I hope not.
If we get Black Johnny Storm, I demand we get Black Sue Storm. I do not want that bullshit to happen again.
Exactly. If they're both black, then it's fine. But twins don't come out different races.
Yeah, that's kind of an extreme. It's only happened, I think, maybe twice in the entire existence of ever.
Yeah, and those were with like mixed race parents and stuff.
Yes.
Like it's not something you're gonna see on a regular basis. You want to make your movie less confusing? Make twins the same skin tone.
Are y'all done being nerds?
Yeah, Leaf. Let's talk about kinks.
What kind of kinks, Spreckle?
Well, there are some uncomfortable kinks out there. Personally, I'm not a fan of feet or people that are into them. I'm also not necessarily a fan of people who like to dress up as children when they have sex.
Oh, you mean the daddy dom little girl kink that people keep fucking defending?
I've heard it's a very contentious issue for some reason.
People take an issue with the fact that I really don't like that kink. I've gone so far as to say that I was attaching a negative stigma to legal behavior, which I really don't care about. I don't think something being legal means you can't attach any sort of legal or any sort of negative stigma to it. That's just stupid.
Well, it's very, very simple. Abortion is legal. Should you go getting a bunch of abortions? No. There's a stigma against that for a damn good reason.
And they're like, you shouldn't call it a pedo fantasy. It's like, what do you call it when someone can only get off to the person they're having sex with acting like they're 4? Like, yeah.
Brockus, when me and you are in the bedroom and I'm choking you till you almost pass out, it's a murder fantasy, right?
I'd really like you to stop doing that because I was sleeping.
I'll warn you.
But no, it's like you can't call it a pedo fantasy because they're not actual pedos. It's like, no, that's why I'm saying fantasy. When I say rape fantasy, I'm not saying the person who has one's an actual fucking rapist. Now am I? Because it's a fantasy. I've acknowledged it's a fantasy, but at the end of the day, it's still a pedo fantasy.
Yeah, and look at it this way. If somebody has rape fantasies, doesn't mean they've raped anybody, but I still don't want them babysitting my kids, right? Exactly. That comes in like multiplied many times when the fantasy is relating to fucking children.
And they're like, well, they're adults that are role playing. It's like, okay, and I'm not saying they're actual pedophiles, but I definitely wouldn't trust them around kids. It's like if they're getting off to people who act like they're a kid. It's just, that's weird.
Exactly. Like there are like varying levels to all of this shit, right? Like there's the diaper fetishes and all that, and it's all weird. Like none of it is normal. None of it's illegal, but it's weird. It's creepy.
Like people don't understand that with all kinks, there's going to be negative stigma attached to them. It's their kinks for a reason. It's because it's technically considered deviant behavior. Like,
I would like to say I have never once been shamed for my kink. Never once.
That's another thing too. You talk about how you don't like a kink, and people will jump down your throat. Stop kink shaming. It's like, bitch, since when was that a rule? Since when was I not allowed to mock the people that make their kinks extremely public?
When people started bitching about how society would call them fucking freaks and assholes and degenerates just because they like to tie people up or put them in handcuffs or spank them.
Well, that is degenerate behavior. Like,
it's degenerate, and you know what?
Fine.
Terms like freak and stuff have meanings. If you fit the definition, you fit, right?
Yeah. But I just, there's certain, like, if you're my age and you're on apps that the main people that use them are generally people who are not 18. There's people who are on the site or app or whatever that use it that are older than I am, but if you're my age and you're sucking on a fucking pacifier and doing the baby talk thing, and you're saying you're into the daddy dom little girl kink, like I'm going to like I'm free to criticize that.
Yeah, well, which side of that interaction is the more fucked up one? The one that wants to fuck the adult dressed like a child, or the one who wants to dress as a child and get fucked?
The one that wants to fuck the person who dresses like a child and acts like a child and speaks like a child. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of the time, the people who play the little role tend to also have an issue with age regression, where it's an actual, like, mental thing that stems from them being abused as a child or
So
whatever.
they're fucking tards.
No, not retarded. It's age regression is a bit different. It's a way for them to cope, and some people take advantage of that. Now, that's not always the case with these types of relationships. Sometimes they're not. You know, they weren't abused as a kid, and they're into that weird, creepy shit. And in that case, I think both would be bad. But sometimes the person who plays the little role was definitely abused. And the trick isn't to feed into the delusion that they're actually a child. It's to get them help, but like with a therapist. Like I don't fucking get this. Like why?
Yeah, I mean, it seems a little, let's say, inappropriate.
It's just
to feed your sexual desires with somebody else's broken mind.
It's just that I get in cases where like the little actually was abused and it's their way to cope. But if it was like some person who was not abused and they just do it just to do it, that's just stop. Like I can't say it's pedophilia, obviously, because it's not, but it's on that very gray line where it's like would not you around children, like, you know.
Yeah, if you're into that type of shit, you may not be a pedophile, but you got some type of interest in kids.
I mean, I don't see the appeal to fucking somebody who's acting like they're 4. It's just like,
yeah, you would think the only reason you would find that appealing would be if you were into 4-year-olds.
Well, someone the other day, I can't remember who the fuck it was trying to argue that I was wrong about the kink, that it was not about acting like a child. And I sat there, I'm like, but that's exactly what the kink is. Like, LG in the acronym stands for little girl. I'm like, no. And they linked me this blog. And in that blog, it literally says a little is someone who acts like a child. And the age they act depends on the relationship. He's like, and they just completely ignored the fact. It's like, see, it depends on the relationship for age play. It's like, no. Age play is always a thing in the daddy dom little girl kink. It's just that the age they act as depends on, I guess, the couple or whatever the fuck you consider them. Like, it doesn't. They're not always acting like they're 4, but most of the time they are. Some act like bratty teenagers. It's just like, well, like, still, like, what are you doing? It's age play and it's creepy. There's no other word I can think of for it. Like, you can say, oh, don't kink shame. You're attaching bad stigma to this behavior and it's just role play. It's like, okay, but like, you can't sit there and say it's normal to want to fuck someone who acts like a toddler.
No, it's very, very simple. What you're doing isn't illegal. It's very, very creepy, and you should be looked down on for it because, again, you clearly have some type of sexual interest in children.
Well, someone was trying to compare, saying, well, this is just similar to when women try to make themselves look younger with makeup and stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, no.
What?
The fuck, I forgot the exact wording this person used, but they tried to make the claim that the people who wear diapers and do the baby talk shit and all that isn't too far off from the women who will use makeup and that to make themselves look younger. I'm like, there's a big difference, a huge difference between using makeup to make yourself a little bit younger or whatever, or using, I don't know, like dyeing your hair was another example that I used. Like dyeing your hair like to make yourself look a bit younger is a bit different than, actually not a bit different, a lot different than wearing diapers, sucking on pacifiers, talking like a fucking baby, and like having sex like that. That's just
the big difference there being when you're throwing on makeup and stuff, you ain't trying to make yourself look like a kid.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Like a couple years younger, something like that.
Yeah.
In a grown adult means, you know, a couple of years younger, still grown. When you're taking steps to make yourself look like a child, that's a completely different situation. It's, like I said, not illegal, but you should be looked down on for it because you are a little bit into kids. Not you guys. I hope.
No, obviously.
But yeah, when Leaf brought this up, apparently there were a lot of people taking issue with it, and to me, that says we got a lot of people interested in this particular kink, in these particular circles, and that makes me uncomfortable, to be honest.
That is very disturbing.
You know, like I would rather not be around those people. I'd rather not associate with those people. Because again, they're a little bit, at least, into kids. That's a bad thing. Like, no, the way you're working it out isn't illegal. But honestly, it seems more like a coping mechanism for pedophilia than anything else.
Would you rather they just sort of kept it to themselves, not put it on the internet for everyone to see?
I mean, that would be one idea. Personally, I wish they weren't into kids, but you know, at least shut your goddamn mouth about it.
Yeah, that
I don't go out there telling you guys all about my sex life until it's with one of your grandmothers.
No.
Jimmy, she's a beautiful lady. She's been lonely since your granddad died. She needs a man in her life. But I'll do.
No. Nope. Stay away from her.
Oh, we got American Phoenix in the chat. You guys seen the pictures he's been posting?
No. What?
Motherfucker's dropping weight like failure. And it's just fucking dropping off him.
Really?
He's got to have dropped like 30, 40 pounds already.
Well, yeah. Good for you, man.
He's been doing really good on his weight loss.
And it's got to be hard. He's a fucking trucker, right? So he's sitting down for long periods every day. Yeah, Brockus, you ever consider weight loss?
I have unfortunately been dealing with my fucking shoulder, so I can't do much about it right now, or I couldn't do much about it, and I have to get approval from my doctor to go back to work for me to safely go to the gym and actually start working out again. Otherwise, there's just going to be all kinds of hell coming my way, and I don't fucking want that bullshit.
Yeah, but you know, you could eat less.
I don't eat that much as is. Like, I actually do control how much I eat and the portions and all that shit.
Okay. One day we'll get you slimmed right down. Then we'll find you a lady. Then you can marry that lady.
Fair
have
enough.
Kids. Be successful. Buy a nice house with a white picket fence. Don't let kids on the yard or black people.
Semaj, you see that you
Scratch that
posted a red She-Hulk and Hulk thing, and you're confused about what's going on in it.
It's okay. It's okay, man. I'm sure I can figure it out.
Well, basically, this is when Betty Ross had actually, along with her father, basically took a variant version of what the gamma radiation and everything that creates, Bruce to be a Hulk and fucking Jennifer to become She-Hulk and all that stuff. They created and experimented on that formula to create, I guess, a more dangerous version. So General Ross becomes Red Hulk and Betty becomes Red She-Hulk. And when she's Red She-Hulk, she's extremely aggressive and her baser instincts take over. In that strip, Betty is trying to convince Bruce it's her by flashing her tits. They then proceed to fuck shortly after that.
All I know is that I see them starting to happen, and there's a guy there with a giant eyeball covering it up. Like, how intense is this?
I think that's actually from a different comic book, but yeah, it's supposed to be really fucking intense because there was like a mountain or a hill or some kind of mound, whatever the fuck they were on, which is just a crater when they're done. So they do a lot of earth shattering, quite literally, when they fuck.
Well, they're Hulks. I mean, it's to be expected.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you saw it.
I actually I really like Red She-Hulk. She's fucking awesome. She's a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, and way more vicious and aggressive than She-Hulk, which makes the character that much more interesting because it's still Betty. And one of the main reasons why she takes the formula to begin with is she's pissed off at Bruce for something he had done. And she has this thought process of like, I'm never going to forgive him for what he did. But after she takes the goddamn formula to get on the same level as him, she understands why he does the shit he does sometimes. And it's just like, oh, that's why. So she stops being a kind of a bitch. And then just kind of they have a on-off relationship after that, because then she actually joins S.H.I.E.L.D. and becomes one of their agents and stuff. It's pretty intense. It's fucking awesome. Just the fact that
and we somehow got back to comic books.
I will always bring it back to a nerdy topic. You want to talk about kink shaming? I have a kink of where I would like a chick to dress up like She-Hulk and let me pound that shit.
And this got really weird, and I'm going to go now.
Oh, please. Oh, please. You were always looking for a reason to go.
And your weird She-Hulk kink.
Hey, it's not just a She-Hulk thing. I also want Miss Marvel and Rogue.
Okay, your weird kink. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go. You guys have fun.
Have a good one, Leif.
Honestly, I think she's just looking for a reason to go.
She was just looking for a reason to go.
Yeah.
Now, personally, I never got into She-Hulk. I would have fucked the shit out of Blink.
Oh my god, Blink! It's kind of like hooking up with a mutant and an elf at the exact same time.
And she's Asian on top of it.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people tend to think like, oh, well, that's just the mutation that made her eyes like. No, Pixie's actually Asian American. I forget what exactly, but she was legitimately an Asian American fucking mutant. Diversity.
I think it was they actually got like a Chinese actress to play her in the Days of Future Past movie.
Yeah,
but she didn't say anything because like she couldn't speak no English. But damn, did she look good?
Yeah, I mean, some of the characters they nail. Obviously, Marvel more than DC. You get Starfire on one side. And then you get stuff like Blink on the other. They managed to put more effort. Marvel put more effort into a character who didn't really contribute a whole lot than DC put into one of the lead characters of one of their shows.
I believe Blink was also in the what was that mutant TV show they had going there? I lost all interest with TV, so.
Shit.
Which one?
The one with the mutants.
Which one?
Well, you name them. How many?
Oh, let's see. There's Legion, the Gifted.
It was the Gifted, I think,
Gifted.
that Blink was in.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't recall Blink ever being in Legion, so.
Well, she shouldn't be because Blink is a character that's supposed to be a part of the New Mutant line.
Okay, well, see, there you go. So when we're talking about Blink, not to mention Legion. I don't know if there's any other mutant-related TV shows. I should just say that I've dropped out of all interest in Marvel TV shows.
I will point this out then, Semaj. Do you remember Days of Future Past?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You remember First Class?
Mm-hmm.
You want to explain why a lot of the New Mutant characters were actually in those movies?
In First Class, or do you mean
in First Class, we were introduced to Havoc, Darwin, Angel.
Mm-hmm.
These are three characters that are not supposed to actually appear until the whole New Mutants series was, eventually released in the fucking 80s/90s and stuff. Banshee was fine as is, along with Mystique, Xavier, Magneto, Beast, and a few other characters. They were all in the 1960s. That's fine. But there were certain characters that should not have made an appearance until later on in the timeline. And then Days of Future Past comes along, and all of a sudden we get... we get a few other introductions with characters. Blink and Cable were in the future. That's cool. That's great. But there were other characters that were also introduced at a wrong time period, and it's very annoying. It's very annoying to see characters being taken completely out of place because they really should not be in these movies like this. But hey, whatever. The fucking Marvel, despite the fact that they get the visuals of a lot of their characters correct, they still will, put them in questionable fucking timelines or questionable stories, and it's just annoying as fuck. So Legion, a movie that's supposed to take place in the 1960s about Xavier's son. That's actually contestable.
Wait, was Legion in the 1960s? They thought they were making them ambiguous.
No, it's actually the 1960s. If you pay
attention, how the fuck did that happen?
The movie takes place. The series takes place in the 1960s. Just accept it. Okay. But when I was saying Xavier's son, I was actually kind of going off of. They rewrote the character Legion to be the son of Xavier in the Ultimate series. So that was actually a slip up on my part. Still, yes, the show takes place in the 1960s. It's fucking obvious.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure. It's a very trippy show.
That's because it's Legion. It's supposed to be trippy.
Exactly. After a while, I got bored with that, though. I was hoping someone would make some sense.
Now, Legion, he was the one that had all the different personalities, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, he has DID, dissociated identity disorder, and he legitimately has an incredibly powerful power based off of each and every one of his personalities. The most predominant one, I believe, is David, and David is an incredibly powerful psychic. But there are other characters and other personalities in his head that cause him to have all types of, like, he has a blink ability, he has time control, he has teleportation, not just blink, but because blink, you could argue you could actually teleport just about within a certain radius, like maybe you can see it, but teleporting would be like legitimately going from fucking LA to China in 2 seconds.
Yeah, he's a massively overpowered character.
Mm-hmm.
Not as overpowered as Xavier's other kid. But
yeah, Prodigy.
Yeah, motherfucker who could take over bodies. I could see a Legion movie being really good. He was a well-written character. Did they manage to fuck that one up?
I never watched beyond season 1. I watched season 1 and it was really fucking good. And I liked the fact that the Shadow King was essentially a shapeshifter and was just fucking with with Legion's head the entire time, and I was like, wow, that's actually really fucking cool. Because realistically speaking, the Shadow King doesn't actually have a true form. He is essentially madness incarnate, or nightmares incarnate, whatever the case, like whatever negative connotation you want to add on to it, like just that labeling. But he doesn't have any kind of real true form. He does have a specific form he likes to actually take, which is that of a fat spider man. And I don't mean like Spider-Man the superhero. I mean like his bottom half is a spider, and then the top half is a fat guy in a fez. Like that's
sounds like Mojo.
Kind of very similar to Mojo, but he's like the nightmare, mental, dark realm kind of version of Mojo. And
what if Mojo is the avatar he uses to travel and perform stuff on space TV shows?
Then God save us all. And
no.
But yeah, that's that's pretty much what the Shadow King is. So like I thought that season 1 was actually really fucking interesting. I never watched season 2, so I don't know if they fucked it up or not. I kind of stopped watching television when every single show I was watching at one point was just pissing me off and being incredibly disappointing, and I was just like, I just can't do it anymore. Fuck you, Hollywood. You've basically ruined like all of the escapes that I do have for reality. You've destroyed each and every one of them. Fuck you.
I just don't have enough time to invest in a TV show anymore. The last show I ever like fully watched was Happy, that other show based on the comic.
Oh, that looks like it's a fucking laugh riot, though.
First episode is amazing. If you don't know if you're gonna like it, just watch the first episode of Happy. It's so fucking good. That alone is worth the hour.
Explain what Happy was again.
Happy's essentially like a dark version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This ex-cop, disgraced cop or whatever, turned assassin, is haunted by an imaginary friend that belongs to a little girl. This imaginary friend will not leave him alone until this cop will help him find the little girl, because apparently she's in danger. And that's essentially it. And he doesn't have many clues to go on because this imaginary friend is very unreliable. But the imaginary friend can't help him. So if he tells him, like, look down the hallway, how many guys are coming, he'll tell him, like, yeah, it could be 5 or whatever the number is. He helps him with gambling and that kind of stuff. So it's a very helpful character, but very unhelpful witness.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that being a good series.
It doesn't help that also the cop is an alcoholic, womanizer, druggie. He does everything. He's very much on his end. So, yeah.
Anyway, I'll be right back. Jimmy's in church.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Yeah, to everyone here in the chat, thanks for coming. Your homework today is to watch the first episode of Happy and tell me if you like it or not. You got guys.
Come to the realization that Happy is basically Schmeckle, who is actually a former cop.
It is currently on Netflix right now. So, just watch the first episode of Happy. Tell me what you think. Sorry, I'm just trying to read the chat there. American Phoenix is asking a question, I think. Discuss or answer this question. Can you defeat the xenomorph from Alien movies with a 12 gauge loaded with baking soda? No, I don't think you can. That sounds like a waste of time.
I don't understand why it has to be a 12 gauge shotgun loaded with baking soda. How is baking soda something that can be weaponized in that form?
Maybe maybe it's something about the chemical composition makes it explode.
Possibly, but that's not exactly where my confusion is coming from. My confusion is coming from the fact that you're asking to weaponize a fucking powder baking soda into a shotgun. Are we just pouring the powder in? Are you actually taking shotgun shells and putting the baking soda powder inside it? I don't understand what it is you're trying to do. So whatever, okay. And then on top of that, you're saying, oh, do you think you could beat an alien with unknown fucking material in his genetic makeup with something commonly found in every kitchen on this planet?
It could be that we're just missing something here.
I think it's supposed to be because it has an interesting reaction to acid. I think the baking soda is supposed to cause, because it's acidic blood, it's supposed to like possibly cause the body to explode. Okay, first of all, you'd have to pierce its flesh, which, as we've seen, is kind of armored. So no, it's not going to actually pierce the fucking body.
I think unless you can just send it out, like disperse it throughout the body, maybe you can cause that reaction. But if you're just like gonna a shot to the head or something, it'll just explode right there. It's not gonna actually do much of anything else. I can't see it doing it. And also, no, I've never made one of those volcano things when I was a kid.
I never got to make any of those either.
It never really occurred to me. And now when I think about it, it's like, well, it just sounds like it'd be messy.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been cool to do when I was young and somebody else had to clean it up. But now I don't feel like I'm ever going to do it. A small part of me feels like I missed out, but it's not worth the cleanup.
I could see now that Disney owns Fox, I can totally see the Guardians of the Galaxy trying to do something, and they have to get through a temple filled with alien xenomorphs. They could do that now.
They could. I hope they don't.
That'd be stupid. But at the same time, like, fucking aliens? Really? How fucked over do you think Star-Lord would be seeing that? It's like, you're real?
Yeah, I mean, he'd be done.
On top of all that, he know exactly what to do. He'd see them and like, don't shoot. Their blood or acid. It's acid.
Yeah, because he's made references to them, like to the movies and stuff existing in universe. So he's definitely, at some point. Just a throwaway comment to like a xenomorph or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I must have missed that.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if he said anything like that in the movies. It's been in the comics.
Well, it's not just in the comic books, but I think that in the movies he may have made one or two references to classic horror movies from the 70s and 80s. But then again, I could be very fucking wrong. Just, might be thinking of shit that I would have done with the movies.
But isn't there an alien race in the X-Men universe called the Brood, who also play a factor?
Yeah, the Brood would be a fun species for them to bring in.
They're a species that actually existed in the Marvel Comics universe in general, and I think the Brood's first appearance was actually in a Captain Marvel issue.
Well, wouldn't that be something? The Brood, I remember reading some comics with them. They actually scared me. They freaked me out. Those aliens, they're very similar in a couple ways because they lay eggs in people, but it's not the same thing in that the alien takes over the person, similar to like a parasite or whatever, and then you get their powers.
Yeah, when they fucking laid all the eggs inside a bug, it was fucked up. Humbug. The Brood Queen from Planet Hulk pumped him full of eggs, made him a host, and he got downright fucking creepy.
Yeah,
I mean, he was supposed to beforehand, but he got like twisted.
Mm-hmm. Like if they totally want to do that, they can. It would be an interesting twist if they took some Marvel movie and make it go dark like that.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool to see a Marvel horror movie. I mean, they've got the characters there to do it, right?
Well, and they did say that the Fox line would be the dark stuff. So like they'll still have the R-rated Deadpool movies, but it'll be under the Fox logo. So that way you wouldn't have they wouldn't have to worry about ruining the Disney brand. So I mean that's their get around. With that said, though, they could cross over Deadpool with like the other people, but he has to PG it up.
Yeah, they'd have to either tone him down or throw a Fox label on it. Which
I think it'll be totally awesome. I think some of the actors would be like, "Yeah, I'll totally sign on for another couple of movies." Can I say "fuck" in the Fox movie? You could tell they all desperately want to just swear at people.
Well, you throw some of these characters in a darker movie, more adult movie. There's a lot more you can do with the Winter Soldier, Black Widow. Fucking 90% of the characters, some of their best stories were fucking dark.
I could totally see Captain America pointing a finger at like Mr. Sinister and going, "Fuck you," and Deadpool just like, language.
G Prime in the chat says, chances are it never happened, but a gamma mistake happens to Bruce again, and a few months later we get Mr. Fix-It. Definitely an R-rated Marvel possibility. I would love to see Joe Fix-It in a fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the best incarnations of the Hulk. Fucking part Hulk, part mob boss.
I could see it happening.
Oh, I'd love to see some of the Wolverine stories at a Madripoor when he was Patch.
Oh yeah,
those could make some good movies, or like a mini series or something like that.
They're gonna do a new like X-Men movie, and they're gonna redo Wolverine. They're gonna recast them. I don't know who they're gonna get.
They're gonna have to. I mean, he's getting up there in age, but
well, not to mention you get to the point where your body literally plateaus. Like you can get good and ripped, but at a certain age, you just can't get any further. I
don't think he needs to go any further. He's already a large man.
Well, yeah. I mean, when he really works at it.
Yeah,
I know that
if he just continues to maintain, he's fine.
I know that Arnold Schwarzenegger is currently working his hardest to get back. He not like he was ever out of shape, but he's trying real hard to get good and ripped right now. Part of the reason is because now that Fox now has the rights to Conan again, and not Fox, of Disney. They want there's talk about doing a Conan movie, and Arnold's like, let's just do an old man Conan, and I would love to see that because in some of the movies, or I mean in some of the novels that the comics and all that are based on, he is an old man. There are some books where you take place when he's old, and he's telling you the story of the time this happened and that happened. And I'm like, you could totally do this. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that that would ruin the story in any way.
If anything, I think it'll add to it.
Personally, I think they're better off just recasting.
Well, you could do both. I mean, why not have old man Conan, and he tells the story, and that's when the young actor takes in.
Yeah, you have you use him as like a framing device.
Mm-hmm. There's no reason you couldn't do that, and sure, that sounds great, awesome. I'm all for that.
Yeah, I definitely sit down and watch another Conan movie.
Although you would have to wonder, like, are you going to get like an Austrian actor to play young Conan? Because then it would make sense because he still has the accent.
Yeah, you'd basically have to. Schwarzenegger, every character he's ever been is known for the voice because it's such a big part of Schwarzenegger, right?
He made a brand off of that voice, like the Get to the Chopper.
He became a fucking governor. That voice.
He's a guy who just like Bill Burr did a whole bit about him. I'm like, you're absolutely fucking right. He came to America built a career on bodybuilding, became an actor, married a Kennedy. Fucking guy could do no fucking wrong, and then he became a fucking governor. Like nothing can stop him.
No, he's very, very motivated man. The guy's definitely got drive.
I mean, if he wants to play Old Man Conan, fucking right, yeah, go for it. Do it, man. I'm all for it. When do you start?
Vegas says, what about an Old Man Footloose? Yeah, if you wanted to do like a Footloose 2 and make it a comedy, you could have him like modern day Kevin Bacon trying to pull off the same dance moves.
I've actually never seen Footloose.
You're not missing out on a whole lot.
Oh, yeah?
Dancing, Kevin Bacon. The Mormons. You know, it was a pretty. It wasn't a bad movie, but I don't get why it ever got as big as it did. It was Dirty Dancing was better. Dirty Dancing wasn't a fantastic movie either.
I have seen Dirty Dancing. I thought that was kind of a boring movie. I mean, I get it, but I just didn't care for it. It's not my movie.
Exactly, and it might just be that those aren't like the types of movies that I particularly like. But Footloose, I never got why it got so big. Dumb premise from the start. None of the actors were particularly great. That one dance scene was pretty badass.
You think I probably should watch it because Guardians 1 kept making references to the damn movie. So.
Is it still the greatest movie ever? It never was.
Oh.
That was such a low blow to Star-Lord's ego right there. Because, like, the look on fucking Chris's face to Tom was, you little fucking shit. How dare you? How dare you spit on my goddamn sanctuary?
I fucking love that scene. It was phenomenal. It never was. Sorry.
One of my favorite things about I didn't like Spider-Man: Homecoming, so whatever. Very disappointing movie. But one of my favorite things about the Tom Holland fucking Spider-Man is when it's Spider-Man and the Avengers and shit, because we've had it twice now. He will say, have you guys ever seen this really old movie that's only 30 years old or maybe even 40 years old? And he always says, have you seen this really old movie? And everyone around him is obviously in their 30s, 40s, and even 50s. And they're just mad because it's that one fucking character reminding them they're all old. And I love this. Like, you guys ever seen this really old movie called Star Wars? And fucking Iron Man and War Machine's exchange is amazing. Really old movie. Jesus, Tony, how old is this guy? I don't know. I didn't carbon date him. He's in the young bracket. Fucking great. It's absolutely brilliant.
Since you brought me on the whole fucking like Homecoming, I am looking forward to the sequel, but I know it's still gonna have scenes with those fucking kids, his classmates.
Yeah,
I just don't want to see that. I don't want that. Flash Thompson's horrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Flash Thompson should not be a foot shorter than Peter Parker. Flash Thompson. I get that they were going for the whole internet bully instead of like the jock bully, but Flash Thompson was supposed to be physically intimidating.
Yeah,
for many reasons. I mean, I love Flash Thompson because he's the bully, and the reason why I like him is because one, he's there for all these jokes, but two, he's not a terrible character. He's there for a lot of things.
He ends up being one of the best characters they have for a while. Agent Venom was fucking badass.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, Agent Venom. They took the guy who they could have just written off as he went to high school with Spider-Man, and made him a fucking badass. He's a fucking military veteran with his legs blown off, so he gets a suit made out of venom. Joins the Guardians of the fucking Galaxy. The one they've got in Homecoming. Do you see any of that in his future?
Nope.
No.
Do you think that guy is ever going off to join the military?
Nope.
I see that guy being a feminist and ending up in jail for raping a woman.
Not wrong.
While he's in jail, he gets his legs broken. They get rid of fucking Cletus Cassidy. So the fucking Carnage symbiote ends up attached to him. And he becomes fucking Agent Carnage.
You
You
need to stop giving
me. Kind of hoping they do that now. I'd love to see Agent Carnage.
Oh, I don't know if that'll ever happen, but we'll see. It's yeah, but we have more of that to look forward to. And we got that fat Asian kid. Who is he again in the comics? I don't even remember this kid.
I think he was supposed to be like an equivalent to Genki from Ultimate Spider-Man.
No. He is, and I shit you not, that character is specifically ripped straight from the Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's Genki.
He's Miles Morales' best friend. But they just name changed him. It's still the same fucking character, fat Asian kid, although actually, if I remember correctly, Miles Morales' friend isn't supposed to be Asian. He's supposed to be Mexican. Huh.
Is he? I always thought he was Asian. He looks Asian. He looks... no, I think the Mexican one you're thinking about is Goldball.
Possibly. I don't know. But yeah, basically that is Miles Morales' best friend. And they just put him in the Spider-Man Homecoming movie because they still want to make references to Miles Morales and tell you that Miles Morales is real and he's an actual character and he will eventually make an appearance in the MCU. Hence the appearance of Donald Glover's character, Uncle Aaron.
Yeah, the Prowler.
Honestly, they should just not even freaking bother because they made that Spider-Man animated movie. It's been doing really well. Just focus on that, Sony. Just do that, okay?
No, that's more reason that they're going to end up bringing Miles Morales in.
Well,
I don't see a big issue with it, other than the fact that it means you're not going to get many stories focused solely on Peter.
I suppose. I know that they're going to make more movies. Like they're already in development of a what was his name? That Hunter character. Oh, fuck, his name's
Kraven?
Yes, thank you, Kraven the Hunter. Yeah,
I love Kraven.
Yeah, so they're already talking about Kraven the Hunter movie, and who was the other one? It wasn't Prowler. Fuck, I'll remember it later. But they have a few other ones in the works. I don't know how far along they are. They still want to do a Sinister Six movie, but it's like Venom. I mean, you'll make a movie, but you won't incorporate Spider-Man. It's like, having a Spider-Man villains without Spider-Man is kind of weird. Venom was kind of weird.
Wait, Spider-Man wasn't in Venom?
You didn't know that? Yeah, he's not in there. There's no reference to him whatsoever.
So what the fuck's the Venom movie about?
Well, the guy gets infected, but not infected, but infested with the Venom symbiote. Eddie Brock, the journalist, goes there to cover some story, and the company is trying to get the symbiote back. That's essentially it. He's just on the run for the most of the movie, and then he goes in to stop him because another symbiote gets loose and takes over a guy who runs a multi-million corporation, wants to launch a rocket, hit a comet. I'm spoiling the whole movie here, but yeah, the other symbiote just wants to hit this comet that has other symbiotes on it. Once it lands on Earth, they'll just infect a bunch of other people and try to take over, I guess. That's essentially it.
Okay, that that sounds really dumb.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is the best that they could do without making a fucking Spider-Man movie. I wish they just sort of talked with Marvel and just, hey, yeah, we'll do this. Just let's make our cinematic universe. But they didn't want to do that. So, Morbius. That's the other one. Morbius the vampire. They want to make a movie of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Although they already cast the guy who played the Joker in Suicide Squad. Can't fucking remember that guy's name.
Jared Leto.
Yeah. Jared Leto, thank you. Yeah, he's doing Morbius.
Oh god.
Yeah, so that's probably one to save your money on.
I mean, it'll be in the cheap theater. You could see it then. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to a lot of these movies. But Sony needs to do something because they're not making money. Granted, that Spider-Man animated movie did really well, so that's more of a reason that they're going to have to make more Spider-Man animated movies. Although they did announce that they want to make it an all-female Spider-Verse movie.
And you know what? If they can do it well, they have enough female spider characters that they could make a decent movie. The problem is all of those characters are tied to Spider-Man. You run into the same issue as you do with the Venom one and like you would with the Sinister Six one. Why make a movie about a group surrounding the character when what you really want to do is make a movie about that character? I mean, you could take Spider-Woman, Aranya, Silk, Spider-Gwen, throw them all together, make a fucking movie. But the movie's going to be lacking without what everybody wants, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You're making a movie just out of side characters.
Doesn't quite work out the same way, does it?
No, it's why you don't see a Great Lakes Avengers movie.
No, I don't think we'll see them anytime soon.
And I'd probably love a Great Lakes Avengers movie because it would have to be a comedy, right?
Right.
Like there's no other way to go about that. You can't take the characters seriously. But I mean, you make your movie around your A team, not your B team. It's why Daredevil got a Netflix series instead.
It's
why the Defenders ain't getting their own movie.
Good point. Although I did hear that they've already cast someone to play who was Hawkeye's sidekick in the more recent comics.
Kate Bishop,
who also is called Hawkeye,
and she's just terrible. She was all right when she started, when she was with the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
Since then, she's been turned into like a constant 16-year-old girl.
Forever 16, apparently.
Like, I'm pretty sure she's actually a grown adult.
Yep.
But she talks. She uses things like woke and like all the trendy new talk. And
are you fucking kidding me? Like in the newest issue of Domino, she's talking like she's 16. She meets up with Black Widow. Like, oh my god, you're like my idol. Oh my god, can we take a selfie? Even though we can't take selfies because we're totally spies.
Yeah, but even that stuff, like it's like a Valley Girl type thing, right? They have Kate Bishop, a character who up until now has been reserved and fairly intelligent, and they've got her speaking like a fucking moron, like saying things like on fleek and that type of shit.
Yeah, I understand your side there, Brockus. The Captain Marvel movie was kind of the tip of the iceberg. It's very likely that if things keep going this way, it's going to get real bad for the MCU.
Well, they should start focusing on what they're good on. They've seen their characters that they're consistently making money on, right? They've seen which characters the audiences like. They've seen which characters the critics like. Focus on those characters. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy. Make that shit happen more. The fucking Avengers. Make that shit happen more. We don't need to hear more about fucking Ant-Man and the Wasp or Ms. Marvel or any of that shit. They should be supporting characters within the larger films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, keep giving the ones that are successful their own movies. The rest, you know, put them where they belong, in the background.
I understand that. I would much rather that. I understand like the actors are getting good and old. Just recast them. All right, get someone else to play Captain America, a younger guy. Or same thing with Iron Man and the Hulk.
Yeah, you know, just find a new blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy. They're not hard to find.
And I'm sure there's a lot of young actors out there right now, like no names even, who would gladly step into that role. It's not hard. You can easily do it. It's just James Bond, the MCU.
Yeah, like it sucks when you have to replace an actor. You know, it sucks having to adjust to that new actor in the role. But it's a lot better than scrapping the role and replacing it with a lesser role. You know, I'd rather see a Wolverine played by some new guy than see X-23 take over.
Yeah. For the guy who we could see playing Wolverine, would you rather it be a Canadian actor?
Tom Hardy.
I don't really care if it's a Canadian actor.
Tom Hardy.
I know he's Canadian, but
Hardy's not Canadian.
No, Wolverine is.
Oh.
I know Wolverine's Canadian, but that doesn't really play into what he looks or sounds like, right?
It doesn't matter, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that would be the angle.
I would like to see them pick somebody shorter, though.
Yeah, yeah, I would like that too. A short guy would be great. Although you probably have to.
That's like a major thing about him. It's always brought up how fucking small Logan is. Every time fucking Sabretooth sees him, he's the runt, right?
Yeah.
Fucking Cyclops makes jokes about his height. All of them.
He still gets all the pussy.
And he still gets all the pussy. But I mean, they cast Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's got to be over 6 feet.
Slightly, yeah.
He was so fucking scrawny in that first X-Men movie.
Yeah, you only notice it when you go back after watching the recent ones. But yeah, he was.
That and the special effects are fucking terrible. But yeah, he is short. He is scrawny. He's a tiny man.
Yeah, he's like ideal for the role. Like he played the role perfectly. I just wish he was shorter.
Yeah, and then of course you fast forward to like Days of Future Past. It's fucking built like a brick house. He is stacked.
Oh yeah, around the time I think it was Origins came out, he had become a very, very large man.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kept going from there.
I imagine he's glad to stop playing Wolverine. He's like, I can stop going to the gym. Thank Christ.
Fistable Frodo in the chat says, "Did you guys hear Sarah Hatcherby Sanders died?" Yes.
Yeah, we heard that.
We heard about that this morning. I never liked her. Now she's dead. That's the extent of what I have to say.
I have no having disagreements and arguments with people is not a problem. That's normal. We all do that. I think it's a tragedy that she died at such a young age.
Although that is one thing I will say. The obituary did prove she wasn't lying about her age. She was 33.
Yeah.
It took literal death for her to prove that, but she was in her early 30s.
Yeah. Well, even with I could disagree with someone all day. I would never wish death on anyone like that, even with an argument. So, with massively having issues and yelling fits and whatnot. I wish her and her family, all the best throughout this trying.
You wish her and her.
You're right. You're right.
You don't have to wish nothing for her, Jimmy.
No, you're right. That came out bad. I wasn't thinking. I know what it's like to lose family members. So best of luck to the family getting through all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I never liked the chick. It sucks that she's dead. Yeah, that's really all I have to say on the matter.
And nothing of value was lost.
That was mean, Brockus. A lady just died.
That was. Yeah, well. We should go back on to the nerd topics and some other stuff, because that's much more cheerful.
Speaking of ladies and just dying, how long until they kill off Aunt May?
They won't.
You don't think they will?
No. Are you talking like in the movies?
Yeah, in the movies.
No, she'll still be there. If Sony had their way, they'd make her like a secret agent or whatever, like they did in the animated movie.
Yeah.
You have to remember.
See that.
You have to remember. I think it was Amy Pascal. She's not the CEO or anything of Sony anymore, but she still runs the Spider-Man department. Which it does make sense that you hear about this whole. Yeah, we're going to push an all-female Spider-Man movie. Yeah, that makes sense. You're the one who pushed an all-female Ghostbusters, so you are a feminist. So,
man, yeah. I still say they could have done an all-female Ghostbusters and done it well.
It's not impossible. You could totally do it, but because she was pushing feminism and all that kind of stuff, and some light man bashing every now and then didn't help her, or the movie at all. So. It's just something to keep in mind that if you still have that attitude, you're like, oh yeah, we'll do an all-female Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man. Spider-Woman into the Spider-Verse? I don't know.
So. Yeah, maybe it's without Spider-Man, but they're gonna have like a female Peter Parker from a different universe.
Yeah,
like Petra Parker or something.
And I thought when they were making the movie, because they have Spider-Gwen in there, I thought they were going to take her out because the creator of Spider-Gwen was tweeting at Ethan Van Sciver and actually sent him a picture of an asshole. And I'm like, in this day and age, you do something like that, they distance you like crazy.
It wasn't just a picture of an asshole. It was legitimately a picture of his asshole.
Okay, well, is that doxing or sexual assault? That's probably
actually Ethan Van Sciver jokingly took it as sexual assault.
Okay,
he really didn't give a shit, to be honest, but he played it out like it was, this guy sexually harassed me. He sexually assaulted me. Like that was pretty much how Ethan was playing it. But truthfully speaking, he doesn't really give a fuck. And actually, a few times in a few streams, he said he didn't care. But that was it. That was all it was. It's like, I don't care, but I need to make an example of someone. And this faggot just fucking showed me a picture of his asshole. And here I am sitting back going, Oscar Jungel actually sent a picture of his own asshole, possibly his own asshole, to Fat Pat and Sophane for one of their videos. I'm not sure what this theme is, but it's one that involves men sharing pictures of their assholes to each other, despite not wanting to actually have any kind of sexual relationship with one another. It's very weird.
Yeah, I could see that. And Fakis in the chat there says, lesbian Aunt May movie. Yeah, I think that's something they want to do. Look, a progressive feminist in charge of the studio was not a good idea.
No, it's not.
It showed. And she's still in charge of the Spider-Man movies. And it shows. Because just look at the Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
I mean, Spider-Man's the same. Everything else is different. Although, granted, I
think her thought process for what happened with Flash Thompson was, I don't want my movie to have any kind of toxic masculinity from a character that's supposed to be a good guy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Flash Thompson, who's the bully, and we're actually going to make him a Middle Eastern boy who's really, really smart, and he does the psychological thing to Spider-Man. And everybody is so fucking pissed off that we didn't get, like, Peter getting slammed into a fucking locker or being, I don't know, locked in his locker and shit because it's Flash fucking Thompson. Flash Thompson, not Flash Muhammad Thompson. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably what it was. It was like, it's toxic masculinity. You know, the psychological warfare shit that he's doing has also been put onto your toxic masculinity fucking list of do's and don'ts. I don't understand why that was acceptable then. Also, what the fuck is wrong with you? I just didn't like it. I wanted my blonde-haired, blue-eyed asshole Flash Thompson, who's just a all-around dirtbag for the majority of his youth. And then when he becomes an adult and goes into the military and has his fucking legs blown off, after learning that Peter is actually Spider-Man, he just stops being a complete tool. And he actually becomes a well-rounded human being with missing legs.
There you go. Hey, did you change your... Oh, okay. I thought you changed your shirt there for a second.
No, same shirt.
All right, then. Well, I think we're winding down. Now we've been talking about nerd-related stuff. Should we call her quits?
Yeah, we're going to wrap her up. Brockus is gone. Tomorrow, tune in for Brockus' show. He's going to be running CNN. It's going to be... I don't know. I haven't actually caught CNN in a long time. I assume it's an alright show. Should probably watch the shows on my channel more.
Yeah, probably. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I should probably tune in. Tune in tomorrow for CNN, where I might actually be watching.
We bring you the news that's already been brought by somebody else.
That is essentially what we do.
Yep. So you just do what Monday Matt does?
Yeah, and we're very honest about it because I literally started off by saying, welcome to CNN, the Cut News Network. We bring you the news that's been brought by somebody else.
Okay. All right. At least he's honest. There you go, folks. Honest research.
And the tagline, so I don't know, just get the fuck out of here. Watch the show tomorrow.
Sounds good.
The outro's been going on too long.